Ignoring my boots, this is our little seed starting table. It's just a couple of sawhorses that I made the first year we were here, and a piece of plywood we found at the dump. Here's all of our onion starts. Well, onion sets rather. They're all the same kind, just a white onion. And we've got a whole plethora of vegetable starts that we've got. And we picked up a few plants from the greenhouse today. We've got a strawberry, some flowers, and some peppers. And then there's a whole bunch more in this little greenhouse. Nothing's really sprouting in there, but we've got tomatoes, peppers. I'll put a list on the screen. We might start some more seeds, and then there's some more plants that we're going to just direct sow, like radishes and lettuce. And yeah, we're excited for spring. So this is our garden space. We've had pigs in here doing a little bit of tilling and eating the roots. We also had them in this secondary garden space, so there's not too many weeds growing in here right now. For comparison, you can see that the grass is growing pretty well right on the outside of the fence. So even though we haven't had pigs in here since the winter, the grass is still kind of struggling to take hold, which is good because we don't want it competing with our vegetables. We've had vegetables in here before. Setting up the raised beds is time consuming, so we were using grow bags at first. We also have these water barrels that we cut in half. We found these used. They had, I believe, barbecue sauce in them. We cleaned them out as best as we could, and we filled them with some native soil and also some compost. So we'll be growing in those again. We like doing potatoes in these because we can find all the potatoes because they're contained, and it's a lot easier to dig in loose soil like this than it is the hard clay that we have. Here's some progress of the garden beds that we've done. We're going to go ahead and go with the Hugelkultur in-ground method, and that's what this asparagus bed turned out to be. We've got another bed right over here started. We have a significant amount of rocks in our soil, so digging this out and then sifting it is helping to reduce that. We've got a little pile of gravel going over here, and larger rocks. We're going to use that on other spaces in the property. So we're not planning to do the Hugelkultur method for all the beds in here. I want to trial some no-dig beds. I don't want to do those with perennials. I think annuals would be better. I also don't think I'm going to do that with root crops, although in the future testing with that would be interesting. So we're basically just going to be piling cardboard on the ground and then layering with some soil, some compost, some organic matter, and some mulch. We had some success with those grow bags growing in here. We found that a lot of the crops didn't get enough water. The grow bags were drying out too quickly. We also found that some of the crops didn't have enough compost. The bags were just too small. So we didn't get as many vegetables as we could have. But with these in-ground garden beds, we should be getting a larger yield. So that's exciting to see if we get the results we want. Eventually, we'd like to expand this garden. I also don't think that the fence is deer proof. I think deer are going to be able to get in here if they want, so that's something we're going to have to look out for. Our garden faces south. It's a slight hill, a slight south-facing slope, which is perfect. It's exactly what you want. The previous owners of this property cleared a lot of trees, so we have this large clearing that is, I believe, a couple acres wide, and plenty of space to expand. The closer you get to the tree line on that south end, the more shade, so we would have to grow perennials that can tolerate some shade over there. But on the opposite end, this is the side that gets the most sun, so the greenhouse is going to be going in right behind the garden here. We have a design for that. We're going to be using cattle panels. We already have the plastic, and the previous owners had a greenhouse in this space. I believe they used PVC pipe. You can probably see the pipe in the background over there. And that's all that has to go to the dump. It's degraded in the sun over time. I don't like using pipe for greenhouses. There is one style of greenhouse where I would consider using PVC pipe, and that would be the geodesic dome. But that's simply because cutting all of that wood would be a nightmare. You'd have to have a specialized saw and get all the angles exact in order for it to hold enough weight. With like a snow load around here, we get several feet of snow in the winter accumulated, not at once. So yeah, we also have a water tower over there. It's not functioning at the moment. You can see a spout on it, hopefully. Oops. Maybe you can see that. It's a little spout. So that just collects water because the top is open. The structure it's on is starting to lean. That is something that the previous owners installed. So we're going to have to take that down, take it apart, redesign it. And I would like to add a funnel structure roof to the top so that it catches even more rainwater. And then we can just attach a hose to the spout, and we can have gravity-fed water to the garden. And we can just use a garden hose like normal. It should have enough pressure to be able to water everything in the garden. This is the old pig hut structure that I was talking about. Every time we mucked out the pig hut, we piled the straw here. That's why the straw mulch that we used on the bed was already partially composted. We have a series of compost piles just made out of pallets that we've found for free in town and at the dump. I'm not a big fan of this design. The ground it's on is uneven, so they're all kind of, falling over. I think we're going to move to just a large pile, put everything in one large pile. Compost is the most important part of this garden. We have heavy clay soil, so in order to increase the drainage in our soil, we need to add a lot of organic matter. We could just chip up a bunch of rotting logs and put that right in the soil, but that would tie up all of the nitrogen, and then the plants would not grow well. So creating compost is really the best way to go about it. But we need to increase our rate at which we create that compost, because it's not fast enough for the amount of vegetables that we're trying to grow. This is the installation of one of our raised beds. We put in a trench and filled that with rotting logs and some organic matter. And now we're using some of the soil that we dug out And we're sifting out the rocks. We've got a little grate here. And we're catching the soil that falls through, and then we're putting that back into the raised bed. It's going to be more like a raised row than a raised bed. And this will be where we plant our asparagus. Alright, so we've got about a 2-inch layer of our ground soil, our native soil, on this raised bed. And we're about to put a load of compost right on top. So this is what it looks like with that layer of compost. From the ground, it's about 5 inches deep right now. After that layer of compost, we put a light layer of our native soil, and I'm going to put a fertilizer amendment on top. This is the fertilizer I'm using. It recommends about 3 tablespoons per plant, and I have 10 asparagus crowns, so approximately 30 tablespoons for this bed. Now I'm going to be adding this whole bag of garden mix. It's going to be a thin layer, but it will help with drainage. So I should mention we have been watering in between every layer. So this is what it looks like with that garden soil. And we've got a wheelbarrow load of our own compost. And since this is asparagus, you have to bury it about 6 inches deep. So we're doing the trench method where you have the, it's like a mound. And Ben's going to start demonstrating that. There we go. So it just comes to a peak at the top, and we're going to do 2 rows like this. And we're going to show you how to straddle the asparagus roots over this mound. And then we bury them after that. We had a little bit of erosion happening, so we put some more native soil on the outside of the bed to kind of hold that soil up on that mound. All right. So I'm just trying to get the spacing right. Let's see. So asparagus requires about 18 inches in between the plants. And because our rows are too close together, I'm going to be offsetting these plants, the plant spacing a little bit. I think we can move them down a little bit here. Oh, bonus one. Oh, we'll have to figure out what to do with that. Okay. That looks pretty good. Oh, I think this one's dead. Alright. Okay. So you want it to straddle the row that we created. So you're going to take the roots and gently kind of part them, and you just kind of lay it right on top, and you can off an angle with these little roots, try to spread them out. Obviously don't break the plant, but do your best to spread them out so they will grow downward. And I'm just going to do that with all 10. And for the most part, if the plants basically just have enough room where their roots aren't touching each other, they're going to be pretty happy.
Do you remember what variety of asparagus this is then? Begins with an M. I've got the photo on my phone.
And if anybody's wondering about the blood on my hands, it's because of all the little tiny black flies that are biting me.
I don't think you can even see it.
Hence the bug net on my face.
Millennium.
Oh, okay.
Millennium.
Can they see my face?
No. I haven't been doing your face the whole time. It's been just your hands and your feet.
Okay. Yeah, I got a bug net on my face. Oh, the geese are coming in. Hi, goosies.
Are they gonna... We gotta close the gate tonight.
Yep, we're gonna have to close that up.
Yep, no geese in here, that's for sure.
Sorry, goosies.
They are creatures of hostile intent. Especially towards our asparagus roots.
They're not moose or bear, they're just geese.
Yes, far more dangerous and evil. A bear doesn't want to be a killing machine, it simply is. But a goose wants to be a killing machine and isn't.
Oh.
That's the difference.
Right. This is a big boy. God dang. Okay, that's all 10. So we just have to bury them 6 inches deep now.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi.
All right. Okay, so we have the asparagus buried about, I'd say 4 inches deep. We need another 2. We've been using the native soil to create a little bit of a mound on the edge to keep it from eroding. And for the very top layer, we're going to sift out the big rocks again, like we did for the base layer that went on top of the logs. Okay, we've got the asparagus fully mounded and we watered it again. Now we're going to mulch on top, and what we're using for mulch is some old straw that was bedding in our pig hut. And we're going to be putting it all the way around, not just on the top, but on all of the exposed soil. And here we are with the final bed. We've got the mulch on top, and we're just going to wait for the asparagus to poke up. They shouldn't have any problem getting through all those layers. It's they're only buried 6 inches deep, and then the mulch layer is only not even half an inch. And we watered everything in really well. And the next hole is started for the next bed, and we're just going to keep going with that. And hopefully over time we'll fill this entire area and that back area over there. plenty of room to grow.